For those of you just catching this video, this is part 2 of the video I posted a little while ago. These are all F&D friendly meals or anyone with chronic illness, right? So the goal is just to make something nutritious, delicious, inexpensive, and super fast, and take breaks in between, right? So I'm gonna take you over to this, and this is cooked to perfection now. I'll give you a really close look, and now I'm gonna stir it around a little bit and give you a look. Oh crap, I just flung it all over the floor and stove. I make a horrible mess every single day cooking, like horrific. Really bad. We're gonna get through these next steps in about 15 minutes. I moved all my ingredients close, so that's what it looks like right now when it's ready for the next steps. I'm gonna be I'm sorry, I'm not sick, it's just the throat thing. I'm gonna be taking breaks of silence as needed, and you all do the same, right? So I'm going to tell you lots of different variations of how to do this as we're doing it, and I'm not going to repeat any of the earlier steps, so just catch that video first. And all my meals you're never going to want to do that day with me, even if I tell you what they are ahead of time, because there's going to be a lot of breaks in between. So that's something you could just go back on those. Everything will be done in 2 videos, right? So now that step's done, and what we're gonna do is make a roux. The roux is mixing butter and flour, and there's 3 different temperatures you could cook a roux to depending on what you're making. So if you're making a bechamel or a cheese sauce, any light colored sauces, you're gonna cook it just until the flour and the butter are combined. If you are making any brown gravy or anything that you want rich, you're going to make either a dark roux or a peanut butter roux. A peanut butter roux is that you cook it probably about 15 minutes. You know it's done because it's the color of peanut butter. And that's just going to add the color to your food, but also the thickness. That's why if you're making a bechamel, which is a white cream sauce, which is basically an Alfredo sauce without cheeses, right? You would want a light roux so it doesn't ruin the color of your sauce. But what you're doing in a roux is you're mixing flour and butter, and you're cooking all the starches out of the flour, so you're thickening your food with that roux, but you're cooking out that flour taste. So typically for this, I would do a dark roux, which means I would take it beyond a peanut butter roux to more the color. I'll actually show you something, the color. I get it this color, about a little bit. This is about a peanut butter roux, but a darker peanut butter roux on the close to a darker roux, but this is kind of the ideal color for what we're doing. So there was another step. I skipped it. I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm tired. But before you make your roux, after we did all the things we did in the first video, you could add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste or about half a can of tomato sauce. Just cook that in with your vegetables, 5 minutes, and then deglaze your pan with about a 6-inch pour of dry to semi-dry red wine, or you could use red cooking wine. But any wine you have laying around, as long as it's not a sweet wine or a blush wine, you want a what I just said. I'm gonna try to conserve my words. And then from there, you would then do that step. So that's just one other step that I'm not doing tonight. And that's just gonna give you a richer taste. It's gonna add to the flavor of the meat. It's just, it makes it a little bit more delicious, a little more rich. Just quick, easy step to really enhance flavor. I'm gonna turn this up, and I changed my outfit so that I could preheat the oven while standing here without instantly going to seizures, but You know, so one of the other things about this, frozen peas, if you have them, throw them in. There's no measurements, as much as you like peas, a lot or a little. So there's that. Also, you could add mushrooms into it. You would just add them right when you add your meat. Mushrooms release a lot of water, so if you're going to cook with mushrooms, when you add the meat, you're just going to cook it for longer to reduce that liquid, to make sure it looks a little moist like mine did, but not liquidy. Otherwise, you just don't want to do that. It's just liquid. It's not even flavor at that point. You know what I mean? So once my butter is melted, I have all that fat from the, I use ground beef, but you're going to have all that fat from whatever ground meat you chose to use. I'm going to be getting some venison in the future, so I'll be doing a lot of dishes with venison. So for those of you hunters or people married to a hunter, dating a hunter, friends with a hunter, know a hunter, related to a hunter, anyone that could get your hands on some venison, super healthy, super lean, super easy to cook with. I've cooked with it a ton. I love it. It's a little bit more of a gamey taste, but so much healthier than anything you're gonna buy in the stores, right? I'm gonna make this real fast. Flour, I don't know. I've never measured anything. Maybe it's about 1/4 cup. I'm just gonna pour it, and you could gauge what you think that might have been. Whatever that is. And you're gonna stir that. I'll show you after it's all stirred in. Making a mess, that's okay. So typically that would cook for about 20 minutes. I'm not gonna do that, and if you skip that step, at least cook it on high for a solid 5 minutes to get some of that flour taste out, but a lot of the flour taste is going to bake out too, so it's a step you don't want to skip, but it's a step you don't have to take all the way to conserve time and energy. At this point, you want to keep scraping your pan because the flour is really going to stick. And then get a cup of water. I don't know measurements. Probably, I don't know, maybe 8 ounces. Maybe a cup and a half. Anywhere from a cup to a cup and a half. Probably a cup and a half is ideal. Cup to cup and a half, I don't know. Depends on your ratios, right? So just keep scraping that pan because that flour is going to stick, but as you're scraping it, you're cooking out that starch, cooking out that flour taste, and you're getting that color that's going to really make your gravy that rich brown color, and it's going to give it a lot of flavor, and you're still caramelizing your vegetables. And you're getting all the flavors incorporated so your meat's not bland. At this point, you're going to season it. Natural herbs is always the way to go in the future. Have a hydroponics garden. Hi. Hey. Actually, you cannot get me excited. I'm on my edge of keeping my chemicals at bay. That includes dopamine from me getting really excited that you're on here. So I'm gonna take it down. I'm not overly excited Ashley's on here. I am, but I gotta really I was literally thinking about you yesterday. My hands have been really hurting. Haven't. I'm still being gentle on my body, so I haven't been on the phone a lot or staring at screens and stuff. Okay, I forgot to show you before I added the water. That's okay. I'm just going to show you after. This was the perfect amount of water, so whatever this was. But half a cup of water more would be fine too. You would just cook it down. And actually, if you're healthy, add half a cup of water more and just cook it for like an extra 30 minutes. If you're not healthy, we're going to get the same result. It's going to be delicious. It's just certain things aren't going to be like I'm eating at a restaurant versus I'm eating a home-cooked meal, but still going to be outrageous, just not over the top, you know what I mean? So this is what it looks like. I'm trying not to get my hair in it. If I get my hair in it and any of you post this to go viral because of a hair fire, I'm unfriending you and I'm not going to be your friend in real life. See? Sounds really nice. I'll give it a little stir so you can see. So this is still now cooking down the flour. It's turning it to a gravy, and you're like, all right, Ashley, cool. All right, we're gonna cook that on medium. At this point, you could add any fresh herbs you have. Rosemary, sage, thyme, oregano, savory herb, chives, any single combination, any single amount to taste. It's not like if you add this, you have to add this. It's just all of them, a combination of them, some of them, whatever you have at home, right? But many of us don't have fresh herbs. In the future shows I will. I'm super excited for that. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Keep scraping the bottom of that pan. And wood. You want to get a, this is what I use. I don't know what it's called. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Just a wooden spoon is perfect. That's typically what I have. I just have that somehow. So I'm going to use a bunch of dried spices. I'm going to start with the important thing before I forget. Chicken bouillon. This is going to make your gravy, but this is why I said don't oversalt your potatoes, because there is a lot of salt in this, so the potatoes are going to offset that. I do, it's everywhere. I coat the bottom, just a very, very thin layer coating the bottom. It's concentrated, it's super strong. This whole thing's about $5. I could get one of beef and one of chicken. I always have these in the house. So basically, you know it's the right amount if you sprinkle it over your food and it just covers it with a thin layer. That's pretty much the rule of thumb with every spice too, every dried spice. So what I'm using, again, this isn't like I went to the food store, I'm making shepherd's pie, let me get the stuff for it. This is me improvising, taking whatever I have in my house, so you could all improvise in any way. Grab out all the flavors of dried herbs you like that go with beef. So for me, I like paprika for just like a little bit of like a smoky whatever. I like paprika with beef. And I'm going to keep stirring it as I add the stuff because the flour's still sticking to the bottom of the pan. I'm still cooking that through. Okay, so I have to turn down my heat. I have a gas burner, which I prefer and love. Once I have my homestead in the future, I'm going to have a wood burning stove outside and a wood burning stove inside, also a regular stove, but I'm going to be doing a ton of videos with that outside. All right. Let that go a little bit longer. Okay, I turned down my flame now. I don't have oven mitts, so I'm using a spoon to balance it around. I'm going to add a little bit of oregano. I only have a little bit left. I have some Omaha steaks that someone gave me, so obviously that's going to go great with beef. Again, I'm just going to basically cover the whole top with a thin layer. That seems to be always a good way to season. And then I have this Greek seasoning. You could use Italian seasoning, Greek seasoning, any sort of like all-purpose mixed season, like any of the ones you buy that are pre-seasoned. There's billions. Use the taste you like, because that's what your food's gonna taste like. I add a splash of soy. I usually 1, 2, 3 color savoriness. I like it. I always add a splash of soy to it, always. And when you make goulash, you add a splash of soy. So if you like goulash, you would like this with a splash of soy. Because no matter where you buy goulash, there's always soy sauce in it. That's one of the main ingredients. Pub goulash, Hungarian goulash, whatever as they call it, just goulash, it's all the same. Keep stirring. Okay. My arms are getting exhausted and my legs are not far behind, so we're gonna cut out here really fast. Crushed rosemary, just a little bit. It's a very, very strong rosemary. The rule does not apply. You never cover the top. I don't work with whole rosemary. Fresh, always the way to go. But if you're going to use it from a jar, go with crushed or the powdered one and use a very little. This, you know what I mean, half a teaspoon's enough for your whole pot. But I always add some rosemary because it pairs great with lamb, rabbit, beef, pork, everything. But it really brings out those flavors and gives it a very unique flavor, because rosemary isn't something that many dishes are prepared with using, so it's a taste your taste buds aren't going to recognize. So that's why you also don't want to overpower it. And then I use ground thyme. I love thyme. One of the things I always put in whatever I'm making, let me remember what it is. Shepherd's pie. Is Worcestershire sauce. And about that I do about 5 good whatever. That has a kick to it. It tastes like steak sauce, delicious. I never make it without it. I just don't have it right now. So if you're planning ahead to make it, get Worcestershire sauce. It could be any brand. Brands don't matter. Okay. I add a little Parmesan because I'm part Italian. I put this in everything. Shepherd's pie never ever calls for Parmesan. That's not part of it. I throw about 3 tablespoons in it because I want Parmesan in everything. You could add it if you want, but it's not part of traditional shepherd's pie. I'm going to stir this in. Ooh, I'm splashing everywhere. And I'm just going to add a tiny bit of barbecue sauce. This never ever goes in shepherd's pie. I'm literally using it for smoke flavor, so I'm only adding maybe 1 tablespoon, maybe even 1 teaspoon actually. That's about 1 teaspoon, because I don't want it to have the taste of barbecue sauce. I don't even want you to be able to identify it has barbecue sauce in it. I just want the beef to take on that smoky taste of the barbecue sauce. You know what? I actually do have to add this tomato. I skipped the step, but it just doesn't look the right color without it. So that's what happens, I guess, when you try to take shortcuts. I didn't want to use this device. So I'm just going to pour a little, now that I'm further into it, I'm only using about 1/4, because otherwise it's going to be too bitter, because that's not going to have the time it needs to cook down. I would have done that before deglazing my pan with the red wine, because tomatoes are very bitter when they're first out of a can. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to add is a little bit of brown sugar. This isn't typically in it. I just like a little bit of sugar. I just like it to have a teeny bit of sweetness. I like the sweetness with the potato and the roasted and the savory. I like savory sweet. So I put a very, very small amount. I really like what it does. I stick my finger in it to taste it. And you could get a spoon because it's hot. Tastes like what I want it to taste like. I'm not gonna have a bite because I hate meat and I will throw it up, and if I even put it in my mouth I will puke. So my body is now a complete vegetarian. So alright, I'm gonna strain out some of the liquid just to get a little bit of grease out because I didn't strain it at all. Usually, I've never ever strained it, but I usually use a very, very lean ground beef, and I almost every time mix ground beef with ground lamb, so it's a lot leaner. So this has some fat on top, so I'm gonna just dump that out, and then I'm gonna go to the next step. So if yours has some fat on it, I used a very high content fat ground beef, so I don't want that. But the fat separates from the gravy part, so we're not getting rid of flavor or the good stuff. That's hot. Okay. I have a super high threshold for heat now, so if it's anything less than like super hot, I can usually like work with it for a while, but then I also have to remind myself, even though it doesn't feel hot and I could handle it and I could hold it, that also if it's to a certain temperature, it would probably still cause a burn. So for a lot of these symptoms we're working through, we gotta really use logic. And I say it like it's logical, but I know I forgot. Just like when I was burning myself in the shower and turning beet red and it's steaming, I forgot that steam meant heat, like overheat, and I forgot red meant burn. So there's certain things you could forget. You know what I mean? And one of the things, I got burned a lot while learning how to cook again. You learn fast. That is the good news. Like little kids. I'm still in my life. Okay. I made a horrible mess. There was grease going down the whole counter. Cooking doesn't have to be clean. It just has to be fun and creative. And alright, okay. This is, yeah. This better taste good for the mess it comes with. Okay, so all you do then is you pour your meat mixture in the pan like so. Then you have your meat stuff. Yeah. And then you take your mashed potatoes. No, I'm doing a video. And you glab them on because you're gonna make, so usually your mashed potatoes would still be hot and you just like pour them on and you spread them really easy. Mine got cool, so I'm going to glob them on and let nature spread it because I don't have that much muscle left in me. Almost there. It's just exhausting. Can you see this? It's actually really tiring. I'm gonna try to get this last little bit in so then I can just distribute them as evenly as I want to put the time in to do. I'm gonna see if using this butter knife works easier. I have it smeared cold. Oh, heck yeah. I'm a genius. Okay, so I'll let you guys just watch this. Oop. So this still has like quite a more oil than I would like, but some of that will cook out, and they like oil and grease. I don't like any oil. I'm gonna dump some of that out of the side. I don't like ground beef. Oh, I don't actually even know if you can see. Sorry. Okay. So it's that. Okay. Just gonna do one more smear over, even that out a little bit more. And it's actually, the liquid is coming up really high, so when it bubbles, that's gonna spill out and go all over the stove. Yes, I lick my fingers when I'm cooking for my family. When I'm cooking for public events, I do it like I'm a professional. I don't remember if this was in the oven or not. It wasn't. Okay. It's really warm. I got nervous. I know there's a rule about pouring grease in the sink. I think because it's just a little bit. Okay. I am pushing my luck here. I got it all over the pan. I don't want that to catch fire. So it's actually not coming off the pan. Okay, dry that greasy hand right on the apron. So in the future, when my cooking show starts making money, I'm going to get like hundreds of aprons and wear a different apron on every cooking show to go with what I'm making, and get a really cool electric mixer and do tons of baking and get lots of gadgets and stuff. There's one final step, so I'm going to push this out of the way. I like to try to keep it as decluttered as I can, but I don't clean up as I go. Some things I move out of the way. I'm not putting anything away till later. Much later. By that I mean tomorrow. And I don't know what that was. Okay, last step. A block of cheddar cheese. We're gonna slice this, put it on top, and we're gonna bake it maybe like 20-ish minutes, 25. I'm not sure. It depends on your size pan, how much meat, how big you cut your vegetables, so it's gonna vary. Check it in 20 minutes. Once your cheese is like completely melted, you don't want to keep cooking it to the point that your cheese completely dissolves off it, because then it's like there's no cheddar cheese, but it will leave the grease, but none of the cheese. So you just want it melted to look like pizza. You want it like kind of looking like pizza cheese. I lost my knife. Oh, I put it away. I was like, I'm done with this knife. Hey, how are you doing? Do yourself a favor. One, never carry a knife like that because we could fall at any moment. Also, our hands open and we drop anything at any moment. So I try to always, when I carry knives, I didn't do it just now, I'm very distracted and I'm in quite a bit of pain. I'm trying to rush through this. Anytime I hold a knife and I'm walking, I try to hold it with two hands in case one of them opens. It still has the other one, because I have dropped forks directly on the top of my bare feet and stab my feet that way. And actually knives actually too, but not sharp knives, like regular steak knives. So you want to be careful. Just slice it, because I don't even know if you can see it. Ooh, this is actually exhausting. Use your body weight and just kind of push it down, and try to get through you want to try to get through the whole block. If you can't, then don't. If you have a cheese grater, you could use a cheese grater, or you could, if you're planning this ahead, buy a bag of already shredded. Almost there. This is my physical therapy for the day. Okay. And last piece. We made it. Put that knife down. I'm just gonna do real fast, no rhyme, no reason. I'm not making it look good. I'm not making it even. I'm getting this on as fast as I can. My goal is to be sitting as quickly as humanly possible. So you could put this on nice if you have the time and the energy, or if you do it earlier in the day. The end of the day is my worst point, so I try to make dinner earlier in the day. Today got away from me. Not even sure what happened there. Oh, I forgot to take out the beef until really late, and then I had to like soak it in hot water and wait a while. Because I did earlier in the day go to start dinner, and I was like, well, didn't take out the beef. Oh, I almost dropped you guys. All right. Oh, almost spilled that out. Actually did spill it out everywhere. It's literally all over the whole side of the pan. I have paper towels. Yeah. Cooking's fun. Keep it messy. All right. I lost that towel. Found it. Wipe the grease because it's literally all over it. And for many of you cooking now, you're going to be super clumsy. There's a lot of times too I put things in the oven and I can't get them out. So, you know what I mean, plan things accordingly. If you have a partner or live with someone and they're coming home and you know, but then it could also get stuck in the oven if they don't come home on time, and then you turn off the oven and it sits there and dries out. So make sure they're reliable, and if they are, then cool, which they should be. If you have the right partner from God, they're very reliable, very competent, very reliable. See, in the oven, I looked at that so many times. I put it at 350. Now if you wanted to like make it look nice aesthetically, if I had my fresh herbs, what I would do after I took it out of the oven is I would dice a whole bunch of fresh chives and sprinkle it on top for aesthetics. You could also do that with a little fresh parsley or any leafy green right on top. The orange and the green contrast look nice, but that is super fast, super easy, super improvised shepherd's pie. And I'm tired, so I'm just not even. Have a good night.